Greetings, YouTube. Time for another Maineprimitive monthly update. July is about gone, and it's been an eventful month for me. Unfortunately, there have been pressing matters which called me into town a few times this month, and so I am now rather behind schedule for this year, and will probably need to readjust my goals again. Of course, as always, the everyday routine of camp life is an ever-present reality. Maintaining my campsite, keeping a supply of firewood for cooking and such. I have spent a few days this month helping one of my backwoods neighbors with various chores around his camp to help him out. And I have pulled a few tree stumps around my camp that would have interfered with erecting the cabin walls. The weather has been relatively pleasant lately, even if a bit warm, with more sunny days than rain. As the seasons change, so does the character of the woods. The frogs no longer sing their songs at night, and there has been more sign of animals such as fox and small rodents, and less reptilian movement. Surprisingly enough, I have still seen very few squirrels this year. Twice in one day I saw a juvenile bear about a year old near my camp. The first time within 30 yards or so of my path into my campsite, and later in the day, just a little further down the road. This gave me concern for a while, that they would be so close, but they seem to have since moved on with no disturbance. As I said, I have needed to make my way into town a few times this month, and I have had quite the adventure traveling. The ride by bicycle is about 18 miles from my camp to town, over rather unforgiving terrain at its best, and it has not been recently maintained or groomed. As I made my way, I twice came to sections of road that were beaver flooded for a distance of approximately 1/8 mile each, and both flooded to a depth of about 2 feet. Of course I ended up going in, boots and all, by the time I realized the extent of the flooding. Beyond that, the trail became so ill-maintained that it was difficult to even tell where the road was. I missed a turn and ended up adding nearly 3 miles by navigating a meandering loop to get back on track. As I made my way back to camp some days later, I happened on a massive white-tailed deer while I was taking a rest break. It must not have known I was there. It came out onto the trail behind me, and suddenly, realizing my presence, let out a snort and bounded back into the brush. I turned just in time to see it run off. I would estimate its live weight at very close to 200 pounds. Back at camp, I spent a couple more days helping with my neighbor's chores, then pulling stumps at my camp before returning to town again. I wished there was more to report this month, but my attention was needed in town. I am hopeful for a long season, so that I can hopefully get back on track, but only time and Mother Nature can answer that. Before I leave you, I would once again like to extend a special thanks to my wife for her support. I love you, and I couldn't do it without you, hon. Until next time, may your heart's compass lead you where you need to be.